the next generation of lighter pistons, and the twist pin is closer to the top of the piston. We're able to. So rather than lengthen the rod, we shortened the rod and we took an inch off the top deck of the block. So we had a lighter rod and we had the lighter piston. Okay.
That's for the 3800?
3800 Series 2. And that took another 20 pounds out of the engine.
The reciprocating mass.
And the other thing we did, if you look at V8, of course we had developed the V6 off of V8 where the two of the ports go this way and two of the ports go this way. They're symmetrical, but they're opposite. And we learned in the 3800, as we looked at it, that even though the ports were identical but reversed, the combustion was different. We changed the cylinder head so they all went the same way.
Wow.
So your airflow,
Identical,
everything is balanced.
That's fuel economy.
That's why they got such a...
And that gave you more horsepower or?
Fuel economy, basically.
Fuel economy, okay.
The thing we did is because we were very focused on noise, we cross-bolted the cylinder block to the main bearing caps in the center. And we put a different oil pump in the engine. And so what you have then is you have a very low friction, very precise, accurate, non-high-tech engine, just an old push rod, but the engine outstanding fuel economy, and it runs forever. It doesn't wear out. When we prototyped the Series 2, General Motors had a contract with the taxi cab fleet in San Diego, California, and we sent out a dozen prototype 3800 Series 2 engines. They ran them for 250,000 miles, and taxi cabs are stuffed.
Oh yeah.
They never shut them off. They idle all the time.
Hot idle.
And outside of the water pump failures and sensor failures and stuff, we got all those engines back after, because what the taxi cab company did was they bought new General Motors cars and pulled their engines and transmissions and stuff out and put our experimental stuff in, ran them, and then gave them back to us, and they could put the new parts they took out in and keep running the cars. We pulled those all down, laid them out in a prototype shop. And you could put every one of those engines back together after 250,000 miles with gaskets, original pistons, rings, tabs, camshaft lifters. We could send them out.
Wow.
They just don't wear out. They run forever.
Did you ever work on developing a 3800 with all roller stuff?
Oh yeah, we did the roller rockers and we did the roller lifters in about 1986. We did those on the 3.8. The turbos have roller rocker arms and roller lifters, and that was also fuel economy.
Yeah, because you reduced you're fighting friction and right, so you reduced
That's why we did it.
and that increased that fuel economy. How much did you see a big horsepower gain with that too? Not much. So my engine builder says that. So sometimes you're not going to obviously see that. But as far as longevity and wear and efficiency,
No, I saw when we did the 3800 Series 2. I drove some of the first cars we put them in. And what you see, it's kind of like you've had experience, I'm sure, drag racing with heavy flywheels. Because of the inertia of a heavy flywheel versus a lightweight flywheel. Series 2, you look at the dyno curves and you look at compared to the other one and say, there's not going to be any difference, but you drive the car. It's livelier because it's not accelerating that mass in the engine. And you could feel it, I could feel it.
in the seat of your pants.
Can't show it.
And just from the flywheel?
Can't, no. The fact that we shortened, we went lighter pistons in, we took the rods shorter, we took the top of the deck down, which wouldn't affect it.
Okay.
But the requirements to accelerate the engine and make that mass go faster, it's like a big flywheel on an engine.
Oh, I see
You
what
got to
you're saying.
accelerate that, and then you got to decelerate with the brakes. I could feel the difference in the engine.
Okay.
I went back and looked at the power curves. It don't show. Driving the car does.
I have one more question.
Uh-oh.
About the cams for the dual quad versus the single. Now, when you go to order a cam, they have it listed. They take the same cam. Is that true or false?
Probably what we did for service wasn't always the same. One of the first jobs that I had on power development after I'd been there a little while, they gave me a dynamometer so I could start doing some work. The original 401 cams that came out in '59 that were done before I got there, because of the design of the engine, the camshafts were always pretty aggressive, particularly in the exhaust, and the customer did not like the idle quality because they're rough and they're used to a nice, smooth, luxurious, big car. And the cams were, the cam was a little aggressive. One of the first jobs that I had to do was try to lighten up the camshaft without losing a lot of torque and horsepower. So I got a lot of work on the dynamometer. We made 2 changes in the 401 camshaft over its life, from 1959 to 1966. And I have a sheet. I have all that data I can furnish. And then when we did the dual quad, I took the original 401 camshaft and I retarded it 2 degrees for top end power. So it's identical to the early 401 cam, but it's retarded, which cranks up the top end horsepower for the rating of the engine, in addition to the carburation. So there's a whole library of different camshafts that we did over there.
They pretty much use the same cam.
For service, you know, a lot of times we package one camshaft, simplicity and stuff. So we can't always get the same part.
And the dual quad has the same horsepower as a 430 and the 67. They're both 360 horse.
Yeah.
So the difference in the dual quad is what?
20 over standard 455 4-barrel.
I mean, the 425.
425 4-barrel was 340 horsepower. The label on the air cleaner was 465. Buick always put the designation. It was a 401, it was 445. That's the torque output, advertised torque output of the engine. 425 being bigger, it produced more torque. It had 465. Okay?
Right. I was just saying, like, the difference in the 66, like, say I had a 67, they look the same body almost, and it has the 430 4-barrel new for that year, versus that. Does that just burn more fuel, or is there the horsepowers are rated the same?
This basic design with the valve canted will produce more top-end horsepower than the nail head. This is a torquer motor. And so that's why we were
They have
able
about
to
the same torque too, basically?
Yeah, they were very close. I think the nail head was a little bit better. I forget the numbers. I have it someplace. But yeah, this cylinder head and this engine design will produce more horsepower than the nail heads ever did. But again,
Just by designing it.
for Buick cars, torque. You know, it was a good motor for it at its time.
And the torque, when you say horsepower and torque, the torque is better for street? It makes you get out the hole faster or what?
You go to a dealership, I was telling these guys, you go to a dealership and you look at horsepower numbers and you go buy a car or a truck based on horsepower.
Right.
Do you know what you drive on the street? Torque.
Okay.
Torque is what you feel when you're off idle, when you're accelerating away from a stoplight, when you're accelerating off a freeway ramp, or you accelerate to pass somebody.
Yeah, that's putting the power to the wheels.
You know, horsepower is when you go to maximum upshift and keep putting down all the way until it upshifts at 4,500 or 5,000. We very seldom drive cars on the street like that.
Right.
We drive torque.
Right.
But we all buy horsepower.
Okay.
Buick did heavy cars, luxurious cars.
Concentrating on the
this
torque.
This car weighs 4,200 pounds.
Right.
And
the torque helped it move.
So we always focused on torque, because that's what people drive.
Okay.
Like when we did the stage 1 car, you know, I focused on, I was telling these guys, my whole focus on the stage 1 car was fast on the street.
Right.
So I didn't get very aggressive with camshaft timing. That might be better once you take the car to the drag strip and go go race.
Right.
Different ball game. I wasn't focused on that for state one. I was focused on
For the street.
And in the
Okay.
gearing too, right?
Once you take the mufflers off, which chokes up an engine,
Okay.
first thing you want to do, you want to go faster with something. Take the mufflers off. Number one. Don't put a camshaft in it. Take the mufflers.
Take the muffler, really.
And so, so once I had the state one fast on the street done, then I went to work on off-road. So when you pull the mufflers off, now it's in the ballgame.
Oh, okay.
That's the first thing you want to do. You want to go fast with a heavy car. Take the
That
mufflers
torque
off,
is going to
more
get you there.
acceleration.
Oh, okay.
And most people, I still get calls all the time. So I got this car, it's a 73 Riviera GS, or not standard Riviera, and I want to go faster. So what do you recommend for a camshaft? I said, open up the exhaust system and put a higher axle ratio in it. That's not what I wanted to hear. They think they can cam it and go faster. And most people will cam them up. They sound tough when you don't for the drive-in. They're a dog on the street.
That's what I was saying with
Because you cam it for high end and then you put mufflers on it and choke it up. And it's downhill.
Right.
People don't want to hear that.
I'm saying that 73 has like 290 something gears,
Yeah,
positive rear end. And if you just touch the gas, I mean, it's torquey.
You
Like,
want to go faster, put a 342 in it.
right.
First,
In the
first
rear
thing
end?
you do.
No muffler.
Well, I put glass packs on all mine anyway, straight through.
Well, that helps. That's
All
the first
those-
thing you want to do, and then you want to put a bigger axle ratio. You want to go fast on the street.
Right.
But then people can't tell their neighbor. If I got this baby camped up, it's fast. Trust me.
I always put straight
Trust me.
exhaust, straight glass packs all the
They make that
time.
mistake all the time. So a lot of people don't call me back because they don't want to hear it.
But they don't allow us to have those loud exhausts on the
But they talk about back pressure though. If you put them on, there's no back pressure. You're killing the engine. Huh?
Can't breathe. Can't breathe. But you got to
I mean, with straight through.
But you got to muffle it to meet pass-by noise. There are federal requirements that when we built these cars, you run a noise test. There's a federal requirement that you have to be under. I don't know how they do it now because the new cars, you go wide open throttle and they sound like a race car.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying
How
with the
do they
straight
get away
with
with
the
I don't
straight
know
through exhaust.
How do they get away with motorcycles?
Yeah. But I was saying with the straight through exhaust, that's straight through and it breathes. Somebody said that's bad for your engine because there's no back pressure. That's untrue. Okay.
One or two.
That's like an old thing I
They're
heard for
just
20
saying
years.
that so you put muffler.
Oh, no. There's no back pressure.
Now tell me this: if people say if you start a car up with just the manifolds on, with no exhaust on it at all, that's bad for the engine.
Not gonna hurt it.
Really?
That's a myth too.
Not gonna hurt it.
Really?
Yeah, I've always been told that.
I've been told that too. Like if you just started up with no exhaust, like just the headers on there or just the manifolds, won't hurt nothing.
The cold air comes back up and cracks.
But we got to think NASCARs and race cars don't have pipes on them. They're straight out.
See, a lot of information
They're
here.
not
See, that's what
blowing
I'm
up.
saying.
All the
Yeah.
NASCARs aren't blowing up after one lap with no
Well, of
exhaust.
course, they're designed to run with the exhaust they have. Now, you pull mufflers out. We did it all the time. Open exhaust.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cops pull you over.
Well, you don't go stepping on it when your cops are there. You just let it idle, cruise, and be quiet. And the light turns. That happened to me with my electric. I had glass packs, and the cops were right next to me. The light turned green, and it was just sitting there idling. Light turned green. I left. They stayed there, and they got right behind me. Said I had too loud of pipes. I was like,
Because when you pull away, you're probably rapping.
no, I was letting it go because I know they were right next to me. So the light's right. Yeah, I'm idling, and then I'm just trying to idle through the intersection.
Won't hurt nothing though, huh?
And they sat there and waited.
Okay.
And then they got right behind me.
Sorry, we actually brought this guy here.
I know these guys.
He was in Flint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to get these guys to come next year.
You haven't been to Flint?
I'm trying to bring them next year with me, Denny.
Go there every year.
Well, yeah, what happened is there's a restored building in Flint
Yeah.
that Durant had his office in when he ran General Motors. And it's been restored for many years. And across the street was a warehouse that Durant built carriages in before he built cars. About 10 years ago, GM said, and it was privately owned in Indicate, the warehouse. So GM said, we're going to buy this building and restore it. This is the birthplace of General Motors. So they asked us, Buick folks, we're a local Buick chapter of the Buick Club. They said, would you promote bringing Buicks? We do a big car show in Flint. It's called Back to
the Bricks. Yeah.
Which is everything except street daily drivers, motorcycles, monster trucks, street routes, everything. It's been going on for about 20 years. Hell of an event. So they said, during that day, will you promote bringing Buicks back to Water Street to call the attention to the birthplace of General Motors? So we said we'd be doing that, and so I've been part of helping develop a program every year. Last summer, he was there. We featured Riatas because we try to do something different every year. We had 83 Riatas and 180 vintage Buicks.
Beautiful cars.
180. All free. Come and enjoy the day. We just kick tires and tell lies. And we have this building now that we can see 300 people with video screens and stuff. So we try to do a couple talks during the course of the day. And then you can also walk across the river and see the big show during the course of the day.
Yeah.
They have an opening ceremonies and the vintage airplanes fly over and all kinds of stuff. It's all free.
So what are y'all featuring next year in 24?
We're going to do early cars. We're going to do cars of the teens and cars of the 20s.
Really?
Oh, okay.
And so we're going to...
So is it free to put your car in the show?
Oh, it's all free.
It's all free. Yeah.
We got
Mine's too
food
new.
vendors. So Google up Buicks on the Bricks 2023, and you'll see a website we did for this last summer show. And we'll develop a website for 2024, Buicks on the Bricks. So Google it up and watch for it. It's like the third Saturday in August, a couple of weeks before Labor Day. And the Back to the Bricks thing is big. There's something going on all summer. But there's one day where they do the big show and block off all downtown and everything. It's when we do Buicks on the Bricks.
Buicks on the Bricks.
There's activity going on every day. We have cruising stuff, we have local car shows and stuff. But if you're interested and you're interested in those kind of cars, every year we